It was the 7th year I'd been tasked with reforming the deeply devoted male lead. Lucas had become a superstar. From someone whose singing was like a deaf duck's quack, he transformed into a ballad prince, dominating charts year-round. From a man with an uneven gait due to polio aftereffects, he became a top international idol, capable of both singing and dancing brilliantly. On the day the female lead returned, he sat casually, legs crossed, and told me to get lost. If you hadn't forced me to train every single day, I would have found Serene much sooner. Give up this manager position. You have no way out anyway. Hand it over to her and you can be her assistant, carrying her bags. Little did Lucas know, all my efforts were nothing more than a play for the system. And the moment he betrayed me, my time would come. My assistant, Anne, looked at me with an awkward expression. "Daisy," she said, "Mr. Lucas mentioned that all his future work schedules will be handed over to Ms. Serene." Her cheeks were flushed, and her eyes constantly darted away. Everyone else in the studio pretended not to notice, yet on each of their desks sat a vanilla latte, Serene's favorite drink. I walked closer to the office, hearing a high-pitched, coquettish voice echo from within. "Lucas, is it really okay for you to make Daisy carry my bags just for me?" "It has nothing to do with you. I've wanted to replace her for a long time. She's just a boot-licking hound. If she didn't have a shred of use left, I would have kicked her to the curb ages ago. Who do I think I am now? Do I have to go sing for a bunch of orphans?" My hands unconsciously clenched into fists. 7 years by Lucas's side, and his inner self had always screamed, twisted, and crawled in the darkness like that. Oh right, that overly saintly system, before it left, was still uneasy, practically teary-eyed as it admonished me. "Host, please stay by the deeply devoted male lead and live a good life. His first half of life was so miserable that even an outsider system like me feels pity and sheds tears. This system has taken it upon itself to cancel your opportunity to return to your old world. You must protect him forever, save him, heal him." I gently rubbed my arm, where countless scars from electric shocks were left behind. The silence was absolute. The office door flew open, and Lucas glanced at me with an air of dismissive indifference. "Daisy, this office is for Serene. You can go sit with the receptionist. Hand over all those endorsement contracts and scripts you're holding. She'll take care of them. And your salary? I think $60,000 a year isn't fitting for Serene. Increase it by 20 times and give her an additional 20% of the shares. The apartment you're living in next to mine? Move out. I'll buy it back and transfer the title to her." In front of all the staff, he metaphorically stomped my face into the ground, solely to elevate Serene. The office was deathly silent. For years, for Lucas, I had humbled myself countless times, bending over backwards, including but not limited to kneeling and begging top orthopedic specialists to cure his limping legs. I worked 4 different jobs a day just to afford a conservatory professor to teach him singing. Not to mention when he first started, from manager, makeup artist, lighting technician to his personal photographer, I handled it all myself. I single-handedly managed an entire team. I dedicated myself wholeheartedly to Lucas, sometimes even enduring his unpredictable, volatile temper. I straightened my back and handed over all the documents in my hands. "Lucas, I resign." His face froze as if burned, and the hand resting on Serene's waist retracted. "Daisy, do you know what you're saying?" "Of course, I know very well." Lucas violently pulled me into the hallway. "What are you trying to pull? Are you angry because I'm good to Serene?" I smiled calmly. "No, I think she's more suited to be your new manager. Since you've acknowledged her abilities, let her accompany you on your future path of success." Lucas stared at my face, then let out a scoffing laugh. "I get it, you're jealous. You've been with me for 7 years, though I never gave you a title. Did I ever not listen to you? Withdraw your resignation. I'll pretend this never happened. Otherwise, when I truly don't need you anymore, you'll regret it too late." He whistled softly to dispel the awkwardness, believing I was merely throwing a childish tantrum and was certain I would never leave. I fought to suppress the urge to slap him. "Staying is fine, but retract everything you've given Serene, and I'll reconsider." "Do you want to turn the world upside down?" Lucas's eyes were bloodshot with anger. "You want to leave? Then pack your bags and get out immediately. Get out of the company, get out of the apartment. I won't pay you this month's salary either." I returned to the office to pack my personal belongings. Serene wore the triumphant smile of a victor. Everyone watched me in silence. Not a single person spoke up for me. I didn't care. In my heart, there was only a sense of relief, as if I had just escaped from a sea of suffering. 7 years ago, on the day I received my PhD, I was inexplicably hit by a falling object from above. The system promptly announced. This system has conducted a long survey. The host has high academic qualifications, strong willpower, and is an orphan, making her particularly suited for a mission of salvation. It said Lucas was the tragic male lead of this world. In his youth, he had an abusive father who loved to beat him, and a weak mother who only cried and drank. Even when he suffered from the aftereffects of polio, they didn't know to take him to the hospital, leading to his limping gait, an inferiority complex, and the inability to approach a girl he liked. Lucas's background is truly pathetic. And he's in love with the female lead. His fate is sealed to be lonely and without support his entire life. You must approach him, warm him with all your love, and help him fulfill his dream of becoming a star. Originally, you weren't the one for this mission, but the previous host was utterly useless. It took a great deal of effort just to get a single egg into the hands of a child on the 39th floor. Instinctively, I angrily refused, but an incredibly strong electric current coursed through my body. The pain was so intense I nearly fainted. The system then sweetly coaxed me. Host, you have no family in your old world. Here, you conveniently get the love of the deeply devoted male lead. To survive, I forced myself to believe I loved Lucas, willingly becoming his servant. The system constantly monitored my love index. If it dropped below 95%, I would receive cruel electric shocks. I could only secretly search for loopholes. On the day Lucas became a world-renowned superstar, the system popped champagne to celebrate. Host, we finally did it. It seemed intoxicated, its electronic voice crackling with the sound of electricity. For the rest of your life, just stay by the deeply devoted male lead and live well. Hick. Tick. I feigned an innocent question. What if he betrays me? Impossible. The female lead and male lead already have a perfect ending abroad. The male lead loving you is the inevitable outcome. But then again, anything can happen. No, it won't. Otherwise, everything he's gained will vanish just as quickly as it came. The system seemed to realize it had slipped up. Before going offline, it shocked me unconscious, intending for me to forget everything. I played along. When I woke up, I pretended nothing had happened. I continued my efforts as usual, negotiating the best endorsement deals and finding the finest scripts for Lucas. The system comforted me like an old mother. A month ago, it had to embark on a new mission and left Lucas completely in my hands. On that very same day, the male lead and female lead had their biggest fight in history. I didn't return to the place Lucas had rented. I'd shamelessly begged for that luxury apartment, using the excuse of convenient work discussions. He had looked utterly disdainful. Daisy, can't you bear to be away from me? I patiently nodded, making Lucas believe I couldn't live without him. 7 years is enough for all the cells in a person's body to complete a cycle of renewal. The heartbreak and compassion I displayed, to anyone who saw it, seemed like a great act of salvation. The insecure, shy teenager, thanks to that selfless love, had developed a twisted core. He was convinced that I could never leave him. Otherwise, why would I have kowtowed and climbed 999 steps, bleeding profusely, just to pray for a protective charm for him? That sacrifice had earned me an enormous amount of accumulated points. Yet I didn't hesitate, using all of them to heal his limping legs back to normal, to transform his unpleasant singing voice into the most melodious sound. The memory was still vivid. The system rarely praised me. Host, finally, the one in the number 1 position in your heart is no longer yourself, but the deeply devoted male lead. From now on, this system can completely rest assured leaving him in your hands. The moment Lucas used his official account to expose me, I wasn't surprised at all. Statement from Radiant Flame Film Studio. Mr. Lucas's former manager, Daisy, has been terminated by our company due to economic disputes. Below it was a string of so-called evidence. The salary Lucas paid me was extremely low, but to secure projects, I couldn't avoid entertaining clients, giving gifts, and covering travel expenses. Lucas himself approved every stack of thick invoices I submitted. Sometimes, when he was filming on set, I could only go to the finance department for an advance. Now, each of these difficult-to-collect debts had suddenly become my personal expenditures. I scoffed inwardly. Lucas's action was nothing more than an attempt to ruin my reputation, making no one dare to hire me. Then, I would have to tuck my tail between my legs and beg him to take me back, continuing to be exploited as his slave. The comment section was filled with curses. I've been annoyed with Lucas, the top star's manager, for ages. Paparazzi caught her entering and leaving the idol's apartment multiple times at night. Daisy controls our guy like crazy. She even forbids him from eating his favorite fried chicken. Get out, get out, get out. Lucas's throat was easily inflamed. Besides filming, he also had to prepare for concerts. If anything went wrong, I would be the only one getting shocked. Fortunately, it was all over. I took out my phone, dialed a long number, and spoke succinctly. I've resigned. Are you ready? You are. At the same time, a video was released showing Lucas unfortunately spraining his ankle while filming on set. Tusk, that limping figure being helped into an ambulance. It was a heart-wrenchingly familiar sight. A wave of criticism against me surged online. Misfortunes never come alone. Someone even released photos from years ago, showing me kneeling and offering drinks to a big shot to secure a contract. How stingy. How could such a low-class person boss our guy around for so many years? The current manager, Serene, I think, studied film and finance abroad. She'll definitely be a great asset to Lucas, the top star. The only old car I'd received from Lucas was splashed with red paint. 2 large characters, slut, were written on it, then it was posted online for everyone to mock. But I didn't care. I hired an even more formidable internet troll army, crushing everything in its infancy, while also retaining evidence to file a lawsuit. That night, I went to a quiet office. Creak, a girl opened the door. Daisy, are you finally free? Yes, even the tiger sometimes naps. Every year, the system would leave for 10 days to return to headquarters for upgrades. Those were precious moments when my actions went unsupervised, and I had serendipitously discovered that the system's first host was still in this world. Her name was Chloe. Before transmigration, she was intelligent, diligent, and had studied singing and dancing in Korea. Her professional skills were formidable, yet the system was like a human trafficker. To save the deeply devoted male lead, it wanted to find someone who could help him achieve his dream. However, Chloe had a childhood sweetheart. They had been in love for 10 years. The system, despite threats and temptations, couldn't make her change her mind and fall in love with Lucas. So it decided to destroy the host, breaking both her legs, throwing her into the sea, nearly costing her life. For some unknown reason, the system hadn't detected that the first host was still alive. I discovered Chloe's existence in my 3rd year after transmigrating here. At that time, she was observing me from the shadows. This girl was extremely intelligent and perceptive. She knew the system's nature too well, certain it would find a replacement to save Lucas. Perhaps it was a spiritual connection. I discovered the color of paper Chloe left behind in a cafe. I tried my best to control my brain, preventing deep thoughts. This way, the system could only detect my brainwaves without finding anything unusual. We communicated through unconscious, relaxed actions. Only on the days the system disappeared did we meet and discuss things in depth, outlining plans for the entire next year. Chloe secretly bided her time. Using my planning abilities, she paved a grand path. She diligently practiced singing, danced day and night, and honed her acting in front of a mirror. This small world always followed the law of conservation. When one superstar faded, another brilliant star would rise to take their place. I quickly established the Yihui studio, currently with only one artist. Previously, I had repeatedly inquired the system about future trends under the guise of helping Lucas succeed. For instance, which films would be popular, which songs would cause a sensation, which stars would become globally famous. The system always refused to answer, citing, "Heaven's secrets cannot be revealed." I had no choice but to read a vast amount of scripts and documents, analyzing market trends to filter out the easiest path to fame for Lucas. The system was very appreciative. That's right, the host must actively develop her abilities. She can't rely on this system for everything. As I saw it, besides knowing how to shock and threaten, and acting as a bootlicking hound for Lucas, it was utterly useless. Otherwise, how could it not have detected that Chloe was still alive? We released 10 singles, recorded long ago, simultaneously on the hottest music platforms, utilizing well-honed operational methods to promote the songs to a wider audience. Chloe's voice was very unique, and her singing style perfectly matched public taste. Almost overnight, the songs, like a swarm of drones pouring out of a hive, seized the second position on music charts. There was still a certain gap with Luca's at the top, but many people had already started asking everywhere. "Ah, my ears are pregnant. Which hidden fairy is singing? All I know is the studio name is Huey, no idea where they came from, but I love it so much. The singing style is a bit like Luca's, the top star, but not entirely. Emotion overwhelms technique." I hadn't revealed Chloe yet. The later the veil of mystery was lifted, the higher public curiosity would soar. 3 years ago, I sent Chloe to Neo's film crew. At that time, he was a young, rookie director with no fame, but he had won a Grammy Short Film Award abroad. It was a very niche award with extremely high demands. Without exception, all previous winners later became prominent figures in the film industry. Actually, before that, fearing the system's suspicion, I had presented this opportunity to Lucas. Neo is a genius. Help him when he's still unknown, and the future returns will be limitless. At that time, Lucas wasn't famous yet, but he sneered disdainfully. "Who am I? Do I have to act for some unknown, mediocre director? No strong crew, truly a waste of my time." Neo had extremely high demands for characters and details. A 20-minute short film took 1 year and 3 months to shoot. 1,000 days and nights just to sharpen a single blade. I invested 20% to give Neo a huge boost. He recognized my intentions and also acknowledged Chloe's acting, so he specially revised the script and dialogue to suit her better. Are you wondering where my money came from? I won't hide it. It was plucked from Lucas's feathers. I followed the protagonist in Shawshank Redemption *, creating a non-existent character. This person was named Mr. John, with identity documents, bank accounts, and address information abroad. I used my brain to deceive the system into believing there was a big shot, Mr. John, willing to act as a bridge, introducing projects and investments to Lucas. The prerequisite was a 10% intermediary fee. Initially, Lucas had no money and no connections. All investments were earned by me working myself to death. He had to agree, even if he didn't want to. It wasn't until the 4th year, when Lucas had established himself in the entertainment industry, that he suggested ending cooperation with Mr. John. It didn't matter. By then, my secret fund had secured its first pot of gold to turn the capitalist game around. Lucas sought me out even sooner than expected. He had been hospitalized for over half a month with a sprained ankle. Despite finding the best doctors and using the most expensive medicines, he couldn't fully recover. Serene stayed by his side in the hospital every day. On the contrary, Lucas's condition worsened. He was panicking. He recalled the years he suffered from polio's aftereffects, atrophied, weak, and deformed muscles, making walking incredibly difficult. Lucas was inherently sensitive. From a young age, the dark flower of inferiority had deeply rooted itself in his heart. He sat in the furthest corner of the classroom, scrutinizing the world with hateful eyes, putting dead mice in classmates' desks, and laxatives in the water bottles of those sitting next to him. Gradually, everyone isolated him. At the school sports festival, someone, wanting to tease Lucas, signed him up for the 1,500-meter race. Lucas didn't want to participate, and his classmates mocked him as a coward. Under the scorching sun on the red track, the gloomy, sluggish teenager shuffled along in last place, lagging several laps behind those in front. Just before he fainted and collapsed, Serene handed him a bottle of water. With a voice as hoarse as a duck's quack, he cried and thanked her. From then on, the female lead became the only light in the deeply devoted male lead's life. That night, Lucas had a dream. He dreamt that when he was young, the doctor had told him repeatedly, "You'll never be able to walk normally in your life." So when did the miracle happen? It seems to be after he met me. At that time, Lucas was hauling bricks at a construction site. He could only do the lightest work, earning the most meager wages, barely enough to eat. On a rainy day, at the very moment he collapsed face down on the ground, bloodied and utterly pathetic, a pair of clean, white hands reached out. "Your bone structure is excellent. Interested in becoming a big star?" Darkness had steeped deep into Lucas's bones. He thought I was mocking him and immediately grabbed a handful of sand, throwing it at me. Throughout that process, the system cursed me as useless and shocked me countless times. It forced me to empathize, to experience the same sufferings the deeply devoted male lead had endured. Lucas provoked me again and again. It wasn't until the love I displayed had accumulated enough points to heal his legs that he gradually began to believe I was there to save him. My phone suddenly rang. "Daisy, come to the hospital immediately, I need you." Lucas's tone was as imperious as ever, allowing no refusal. I casually fiddled with my freshly done jeweled nails and replied nonchalantly, "Sorry, I'm a bit busy these days, no time." "What could you possibly be busy with? After leaving me, what company would even hire you?" That's right, anything Lucas couldn't have, he always wanted to destroy, except for the female lead. Having been by his side for so many years, every time he saw opportunities beyond his reach, he would order me to hire anti-fans to eliminate his rivals. I instinctively refused, believing that opportunities belonged to those with ability. Lucas, however, thought I disrespected him and flew into a rage. The system felt immense pity for him and, on his behalf, unleashed its anger on me. I paid a heavy price. Just for not wanting to harm his rivals without cause, I endured one agonizing electric shock after another, nearly dying each time. Lucas was practically my shadow, he must have noticed. As soon as he got angry, my entire body would feel uncomfortable. Based on that, he believed he could choke the very throat of my destiny. Indeed, everything was as I thought. Lucas's cold, arrogant voice rang in my ear. "Daisy, have you forgot? What punishment does your body suffer if you disobey me? See." He knew everything all along and had deliberately done it many times. I burst out laughing. "Lucas, the top star, thanks for still caring about me, even with your crippled legs. But after leaving you, I've been eating well, sleeping soundly, and my body feels unusually healthy." Lucas was furious. "Impossible," he softened his tone. "Daisy, you've secretly dedicated 7 years to me. I know you're just angry because I treat Serene better. I promise you, once she becomes a top-tier manager in the entertainment industry, I'll let you come back to my side, all right?" "I don't want to. I've been absent from the film set for too long. They're planning to replace me." "You can't treat me like this. Now is when I need people. Go and secure that role for me." "Lucas, no one will stand still and wait for you, whether it's me or opportunity." A sound of breaking glass came from the other end of the line. "Lucas, why are you so angry? I come to visit you in the hospital every day. I'm so tired." Lucas's voice softened. "Serene, I'm just too scared. Don't worry, if I can't act, then so be it." Just from music royalties alone, I still earn hundreds of millions every year without doing anything. No wonder the female lead won't leave him. A skinny camel is still bigger than a fat horse. I had investigated and found that the male lead had gone bankrupt abroad. Serene couldn't bear the hardship, which was why she rushed back to the country. I needed the female lead and the deeply devoted male lead to be firmly bound together, so Lucas's betrayal of me could be even more intense. Neo's film premiere immediately caused a media storm. The genius director appeared out of nowhere. The cinematography is superb. I cried through 2 packs of tissues watching it. The female lead's acting is amazing. Why have I never seen her face before? Her name seems to be Chloe. I feel like I've heard her voice somewhere before. Silence was for a momentary explosion. On that very day, I used the studio's account to post Chloe's photos and information. Major media outlets quickly reposted it. They dug deeper and discovered that this new talent in the film industry was none other than the rising singer who had sung 10 recent hit songs. OMG, how can one person be so talented, excelling in every field? Wait, why is the studio behind Chloe Yehui Studio Daisies? Can anyone enlighten me? Isn't Daisy Lucas the top star's former manager? I heard she was fired for being corrupt. Correction, that was debunked ages ago. It's clear that Lucas, the top star, is stingy, paying his employees peanuts while working them like slaves. A person with a perfectly crafted image but a flawed character. Once public trust cracks, continuous destruction is sure to follow. VIP hospital room. Lucas looked at the online news, his eyes bulging with fury. "Daisy, how dare she give my opportunities to an outsider?" Serene spoon-fed him porridge and said, "Supporting someone isn't that easy, you know. She must have been undermining you for a long time. Otherwise, why have I been having so much trouble negotiating contracts lately?" The more she complained, the more pitiful she seemed. Lucas felt immense pity. "Don't worry, I'll make Daisy explain herself clearly. Otherwise, don't blame me." Suddenly, Serene felt her stomach churn and rushed to the bathroom to throw up. Lucas was utterly worried. Despite the pain in his leg, he leaned on his cane and hobbled over, asking anxiously, "What's wrong, darling?" "Lucas, I'm 1 month pregnant. It's yours, isn't it? From that time we slept together right after I returned?" Her face was flushed with embarrassment. Lucas's expression was ecstatic. He threw away his cane and embraced her tightly. "This is wonderful. After Mom died and Dad went to jail, you don't know how much I've wanted a child of my own. I'll immediately buy you the best luxury apartment and hire 10 maids to take care of you. Lucas, you're too good to me." When the young nurse sent me that video, the corner of my mouth unconsciously curled into a smile. Yet a suspicion arose in my heart. The system had once slipped up. I am the one who came to save the deeply devoted male lead. He cannot easily betray me. Serene was pregnant, but if the child was Lucas's, why was only his leg affected? He should have lost everything, been sent back to that bottomless hell. I took Chloe to a red carpet event. As a rising star, she attracted all attention. I skillfully helped her fend off tricky questions from the paparazzi, and at just the right moment, handed her a thermos, taking meticulous care of her. As fate would have it, we encountered Lucas there as well. He no longer had his arrogant, swaggering demeanor from before, sitting in a wheelchair, perhaps to elicit pity from everyone. It was clear his old ailment had recurred, and he couldn't walk on both legs. Yet he deliberately had his leg in a cast, giving his fans an opportunity to feel sorry for him. What kind of film crew is this? Don't they know about safety measures? It's terrible that our guy's leg isn't healing. I remember last time I broke my leg, it took half a year to recover. Poor Lucas, the top star. Many people voiced their indignation on his behalf. It was clear that Lucas had carelessly fallen on set. To conceal his inability to film for a short period, he blamed the entire film crew. Some had an odd perspective. Am I the only one annoyed by this? Lucas, the top star, is so injured, yet he still has to carry bags for that extravagantly dressed woman next to him. This glorious internet troll army was hired by me. After Lucas found out I was secretly supporting Chloe, he flew into a rage. He hired anti-fans to attack us, aiming to crush Chloe in her infancy. I knew him too well. I had already prepared countermeasures. I released all the photos and videos of me subserviently serving Lucas years ago to entertainment news sites. No comparison, no pain. As a manager, whether my artist was a top star or a newcomer, I maintained a consistent, dedicated attitude. Conversely, look at Serene. She was inherently a superficial woman. Hearing that Lucas had become a superstar, she immediately dumped the bankrupt male lead and rushed back to the country. She wore the branded watch that Enhan Hang had given Lucas, then used the threat of not renewing his contract to demand more suitable clothes and women's bags be given to her. Only then could she shine at events. She completely disregarded how such actions would steal the spotlight from the artist. With the spark, the comment section immediately erupted. "That hateful woman, by what right does she make our guy carry her bags? Get out now." That woman is Serene, a student who returned from abroad, originally intending to help Lucas, the top star, build his career, but it seems she's the one who wants to enter showbiz more. How could Lucas bear to see his beloved being slandered? He personally used his official account to announce that Serene was very important to him. From now on, anyone who slandered her would be blocked. I had previously told Lucas that this profession thrived on fans. Water can carry a boat, but it can also capsize it. Even if you can't blindly follow them, you must abide by the rules, don't act on impulse. It seemed Lucas hadn't listened to a single word. In his eyes, protecting Serene was getting angry for a beautiful woman. But in the fans' eyes, it was, our guy has a girlfriend. Our guy likes a materialistic woman. Our guy considers his loyal fans, who supported him, as enemies just to protect a useless person who can't even negotiate an advertising contract. Coupled with my previous correction announcement, many realized they had been idolizing the wrong person. Fan clubs disbanded en masse, posting messages about misplaced affection. Lucas was panicking. He knew very well that in the past, at the slightest hint of trouble, I would immediately find ways to suppress and appease the fans. Serene, on the other hand, was self-righteous and would never admit fault. Moreover, she was pregnant. How could she not be Lucas's precious darling? The moment Chloe won the Golden Melody Award, we celebrated at a 7-star hotel. As fate would have it, we again ran into Lucas, sitting in a wheelchair. Unable to exercise, and in a foul mood, he used eating as a way to relieve stress, causing his face to swell up like a balloon. Serene, lazy, and unlike my past self who painstakingly advised Lucas to manage his physique, didn't bother. The two of them often drank beer and ate grilled chicken while cursing me for my dark heart, blaming me for letting Chloe steal his music throne. It was truly laughable. The entertainment industry is one of the fastest changing places. If you can't keep up, don't blame others for progressing. Lucas came before me, no longer able to arrogantly look down as he always had. I put down my knife and fork, dabbed the corner of my mouth with a napkin, and calmly looked at him. In just a few days, Lucas had grown fat and ugly, even his voice had changed. "Daisy, name your price. What do you want to come back to my side?" I laughed. The sun will rise in the west before that happens. I worked like a dog for 7 years, and you never once treated me to a meal at a high-end restaurant. Yet, to nourish Serene's pregnancy, you have ingredients transported from different countries every day. He breathed a sigh of relief. "Ah, Daisy, you're jealous? Serene is carrying my child. I can't abandon her. Apart from me, everything else houses, cars is negotiable." Lucas still thought he was quite the catch. I couldn't help but hold my forehead and sigh. "Lucas, the heavens and earth are vast, but not as vast as your brainless head. You treated me badly before because you were certain I wouldn't leave. But now, seeing you, all I feel is disgust. Looking at your ugly and arrogant appearance, I imagine the dirtiest, uncovered sewer, letting you spill out again and again. Get out of my sight, don't let me see you, or I'll throw up." Lucas, who had been lauded for 7 years, had never been insulted like this before. He rasped, his eyes bulging with anger. "Daisy, what's so great about you? There are plenty of managers better than you out there. The opportunity was given to you. If you don't want it, don't regret it. Are you getting hot-blooded? Think about when your legs will ever stand up again," I said. "Otherwise, even if the king of heaven himself came down, you'd still just be a useless cripple." Lucas angrily left, nearly tumbling down the stairs. I don't know if he was provoked by my words, but Lucas, who could bend and stretch, started sending me all sorts of lengthy documents. The gist was that he owed me too much from the past, and Bang Long would increase my salary by 10,000 yuan if I returned to him. I didn't bother paying attention to that pathetic clown. I was busy preparing for Chloe's first solo concert. The venue was set for the Central Stadium, where Lucas had originally planned to hold his anniversary concert. Upon learning the venue had been taken, Serene called to confront me. "Daisy, was that intentional? So what if it was? Do you know Lucas sought out a stylist to design the most fashionable performance outfits for this concert? What's a cripple like him going to do on stage? Perform a wheelchair dance or quack like a goose?" Lucas, standing nearby, heard this, angrily snatched the phone. "Daisy, do you hate me that much? You're willing to destroy me just for revenge?" "Yes, I do. The system kidnapped me from my old world to save you, Lucas. Not only were you ungrateful, but you also trampled on my efforts and good fortune to climb higher. You treated me like something you could call and dismiss at will. A blind person, once they regain their sight, the first thing they do is throw away their cane. You're even more malicious. As soon as you could stand, you kicked me away. With such a wretched character, what right do you have to be saved?" Lucas still didn't give up. He had Serene hire an internet troll army to simultaneously slander me and Chloe. What kind of people are these? They knew Lucas, the top star's concert was scheduled for this day, yet they deliberately stole the venue. Poor our guy, with his injured leg, he still persevered to show gratitude to his fans, but some shameless person stole his stage. Money can buy anything, even immortals. They instigated loyal fans to cause trouble, stage protests, and boycott outside the concert venue. Their plan was to use megaphones to create the loudest booing in history when Chloe took the stage. I remained unfazed. I released recent photos of Lucas along with a recording of his voice online. The entertainment industry values looks, and the music industry values singing. It immediately exploded. No, someone must be impersonating our guy. I don't believe Lucas turned into a round, fat man, and I certainly don't believe his voice sounds worse than a crow's caw. Some believed, some didn't. Die-hard, brain-dead fans held up signs supporting Lucas and demonstrated outside the venue. I had already made preparations, bringing in the most professional sound team to ensure Chloe's clear voice would pierce through the night sky. Those who initially boycotted the concert gradually changed their minds. "This voice is truly incredible. It sounds like I've wandered to the ends of the earth. I want to cry so much. Lucas's leg isn't fully healed yet, so he should rest and recover. For now, he should yield the opportunity to someone with talent. True ability can sweep everything away. After tonight, the Iron Throne on the music charts is destined to change hands. Chloe and I had together begun our superstar era. Countless endorsement contracts and collaboration invitations poured in. Former partners who had disregarded me because of Luca's now flocked to me. There are no eternal friends, only eternal interests. I also took the opportunity to approach several major brands, all for contracts I had previously helped Luca's negotiate. There was no need for lengthy explanations. Simply leaking news about Lucas's recent situation made many nod in agreement, promising never to renew his contracts once they expired. On the night of the celebration party, Lucas personally came before me. He sat in a gilded wheelchair. That sick desire to possess wealth reflected the confusion and panic in his heart. What does someone who has truly been poor fear most? Naturally, being pushed back into poverty. He would desperately grasp at every straw to save himself. "Daisy, you've ruined me. You must be very pleased, aren't you?" I gently swirled the red wine in my hand. "Of course. After 7 years with you, I gained nothing, and even ended up owing the company money so you could freely slander me. To vent some of this anger, I hired people to stir up trouble. Haven't many fans been throwing rotten eggs and wilted vegetables at you lately?" Lucas looked utterly pathetic. "Ah, Daisy, please stop causing trouble. My legs and voice were both healed by people you found. Help me figure things out again, and I'm willing to give you a title." I nearly died laughing. This arrogant man must think that after leaving him, I'm suffering from sleepless nights, merely pretending to be strong. "Lucas, when people lose weight, they target their waist and glutes, so why do you insist on starting with your brain cells?" Who, living a peaceful and comfortable life, would eagerly run back to endure abuse and run errands for someone whose cerebellum and cerebrum are both paralyzed? Lucas had paid an enormous price, inviting back the famous doctor who had treated him before, but they couldn't find the cause of his illness. He was scared, panicked, seemingly returning to his horrifying adolescence overnight. "Daisy, please, I'm begging you. You loved me so much. You surely wouldn't bear to see me lose everything." I felt a mischievous urge to provoke him. "You're so eager to give me a title. Do you intend for me to be your canary or your mistress?" Lucas glanced at Serene, who was carrying her bulging pregnant belly, and his face darkened. "After she gives birth, I'll definitely kick her out. Then I'll make the child treat you as its biological mother." I nearly burst out laughing. "Lucas, has your brain shriveled into a planarian? How stupid do I have to fight to be someone else's stepmother?" "No, it's not like that. Daisy, you once loved me so much you'd die for me, completely without self-respect. Why can't you accept a child?" Slap, I swung my hand and slapped him hard. Still not satisfied, I slapped him 7 or 8 more times, wishing I could unleash all the resentment accumulated over the years onto this culprit. Lucas screamed in pain, but his legs were worse than before. He couldn't even stand, only slump in his wheelchair, letting me hit and scold him. I stopped only when my palms burned. "Lucas, a piece of advice, never appear before me again. Otherwise, I have 100 ways to make you suffer." Just like his cold, indifferent demeanor all those years ago, when he watched me get electrocuted without doing anything. I sought out the best music producers, elevating Chloe to become a top superstar. Money poured into the company like water. After earning a fortune, I set aside a large sum to help those in difficult circumstances. Without my planning, Lucas couldn't release a single new song for an entire year. His music copyrights expired, and I deliberately pushed Chloe to replace him. Lucas went insane with rage, his legs could no longer walk, and his voice became incredibly unpleasant. All the endorsement deals, film scores, and scripts that had been negotiated were now impossible for him to participate in. Lucas had originally planned to live a comfortable life on royalties for the rest of his days, but what could he rely on now? Some people are born with a humble fate, deserving to wallow in the mud their entire lives. On the day Serene gave birth to a son, Lucas nearly smashed everything in the delivery room to pieces. The male lead had returned to the country. I had chosen the right moment to bring him back. And DNA test revealed to Lucas that he was merely a cuckold. During her 10-month pregnancy, Serene had extracted nearly 100 million yuan in assets and cash from him, simply by claiming the baby she carried was his. I had known early on that Lucas's seed quality wasn't good. He couldn't easily have a child with Serene. That year, she had followed the male lead abroad, a very flirtatious person, spent all his money, and then planned to run off with her pregnant belly. I deliberately revealed to Serene that Lucas had become a superstar and still yearned for her. Faced with the deeply devoted, male lead of old, Serene only needed to snap her fingers, and Lucas immediately rushed to lick her boots. She had originally intended to abort the baby, but unfortunately, Lucas found out. So she played along, exploiting his love for children to relentlessly extort money from him. The male lead forcefully demanded to take the child, but didn't want the female lead. Lucas, unwilling to accept this, tortured Serene, who had just given birth, causing her unrecovered body to be injured, requiring emergency hospitalization. From beginning to end, Lucas's nature of destroying anything he couldn't have remained utterly unchanged. Serene angrily reported Lucas to the police, accusing him of sexual assault. I had paparazzi ready. The former top star's scandal flooded the headlines. Criticism demanding his expulsion from the entertainment industry grew fiercer by the day. In an instant, brands and partners collectively sought out Lucas, demanding compensation. He could only sell his mansion and everything else. The heaven-blessed favorite fell from the clouds to the earth. I stood before the floor-to-ceiling windows of my office building, smiling as I looked at the twinkling lights outside. Lucas was penniless overnight, no longer owning a mansion, luxury cars, or even able to pay his hospital bills. In the middle of the night, he arrived at my doorstep, sitting in a creaking old wheelchair. "Daisy, I was wrong. I should have treated you better." He was repenting, regretting how he had treated me like a dog for the past 7 years. "I was too afraid you'd leave me, that's why I tested your patience again and again. My heart had already fallen for you." Lucas certainly had too much face. He actually thought he was a good person. I was disgusted. I flung a cup of hot coffee into Lucas's face. His cheeks burned red, but he still bit his lip and humbled himself, saying, "Last night I had a dream." In the dream, something claiming to be the system told Lucas, "Daisy is here to save you. If you don't obey, I will definitely make her suffer electric shocks." Daisy. The system's voice was exactly like my mother's when she was alive. She used to say that a woman who marries into a family becomes the property of that family, and told me I didn't need to treat my wife well later on. At that time, I truly thought I would be with you for life. Looking at his repulsive face, I said nothing. My heart had long harbored a suspicion. The system that had controlled me for the past 7 years was none other than Lucas's motherly love system. It knew all his preferences, knew he liked chili crab, knew he had a small mole on his inner thigh, and even knew that he had been bitten by a snake at 3.5, so he feared cold, slimy, legless creatures the most. It was exactly like a cruel mother-in-law, controlling everything about me, forcing me to dedicate myself wholeheartedly to Lucas. Yet, it didn't require him to show me an ounce of respect. On the night the system was so drunk it was hazy, I asked it a question. "Lucas's biological mother, that's you, isn't it?" A redundant question. If it weren't me, I wouldn't have worried so much about one child. To fulfill a mother's final act of love, it had kidnapped 2 innocent girls from another world to be slaves for a gloomy teenager. Realizing all of this, I began investigating the female lead. I discovered her family background was ordinary. She had a sick younger brother. To nourish their son, her parents always saved chicken drumsticks for the boy to eat. This act, in the female lead's eyes, was blatant male chauvinism. Yet, she completely ignored the fact that her entire family had to sell their assets for her to attend a good school where she could meet the male lead. Later, the female lead stole her brother's medical funds to go abroad with the male lead. While lamenting that the female lead wasn't exactly a good person either, I accidentally discovered that the system had deliberately hidden all information about the deeply devoted male lead from her. A plan immediately formed in my mind to make the female lead and the male lead, who were on the verge of bankruptcy, have a huge fight at just the right time, then return to the country to find Lucas. Lucas went insane. He wanted to hit me, but he couldn't even stand. I called security to throw him out onto the street in the pouring rain. Lucas was drenched, like a drowned old dog, crawling on the ground. Serene drove the old, dilapidated car she had stolen from me. Yes, that clunky car worth about 20,000 yuan that Lucas had condescendingly given me. She mercilessly accelerated straight towards Lucas. She originally only wanted to scare him a little, who told him to hire thugs to reclaim the money he had spent on Serene. The moment the brakes failed, Lucas was thrown flying. When he was taken to the hospital, his internal organs were severely damaged, leading to paralysis from the waist down. Serene was also thrown into prison. Lucas was still not satisfied, even sending people into prison to beat her half to death. Once personal interests are touched, no matter how much love there is, it will all fall apart. When I arrived at the hospital to gloat over his pain, Lucas, covered in tubes, looked at me with difficulty. "Daisy, you came to see how pathetic I am, didn't you?" "Yes. Finally, you've been clever for once. I also want to tell you about the money you reclaimed from Serene. I've already informed the partners you haven't compensated yet, so they'll continue sending lawyers to demand payment." His eyes bulged with fury. "We loved each other for 7 years. Do you really have to destroy me? What can I do?" The plot has completely collapsed. Only by pushing Lucas into a bottomless abyss will his motherly love system have no chance to start over. This is information the new system taking over this small world quietly revealed to me. Lucas, you reap what you sow. Since you became famous, everyone you offended or bullied has met a tragic end, without exception. A person so utterly dark doesn't deserve to live in this world. Lucas seemed to realize something. "Daisy, don't leave. Only if you stay will I have a chance to start over. From now on, just drag that crippled body through life. Live like a sewer rat in a ditch, never seeing the sunlight, barely surviving day by day." He screamed in agony, his voice as horrid as a wailing night demon, nearly scaring the passing nurse to death. Chloe and I returned to our original world. I asked her, "Do you regret giving up the chance to be a top star to return to square one? Didn't you do the same? You made the exact same choice." "Yes, where your heart finds peace, that is home." The new system, grateful that we had dismantled the bizarre original plot, sent us back and added many zeros to each of our accounts. The most heartwarming thing was that over 7 years of disappearance in the real world had only translated to a little over 7 months. Chloe's childhood sweetheart ran from afar and hugged her tightly. Throughout all that time, he had never given up searching for her. It was thanks to the strong belief that they always remembered each other that Chloe didn't die in the other world. She preserved her life force, met me, and together we created immense power to return home and even made Lucas's motherly love system completely disappear. I didn't return to struggle in the entertainment industry. I used my savings to establish a brainwave research institute, continuing to pursue the specialization I had studied for my PhD. This world still had too many unexplored fields. For the rest of my life, I would dedicate myself to science, exploring new and beautiful frontiers. The end.